Hello, and welcome to this video about a poem by Du Fu, which is titled To Mr. Li Guinian on the occasion of our meeting in the South. In the original, that's Jiangnan Feng Li Guinian. Let's listen to the complete poem, then we'll go through it line by line. To Mr. Li Guinian, on the occasion of our meeting in the South. I used to come and watch you often at the palace of the Prince of Qi. At Cui Di's home I heard you several times outside the hall. The South is lovely, isn't it? So happy to have found you here again, as blossoms fall. This is another one of Du Fu's very sad poems, but he never mentions why he's sad or what's gone wrong. If you remember anything about Du Fu's life, though, you can guess what it is. That's right. It was the rebellion of An Lushan, which nearly destroyed the Tang Empire. In 756, the rebel general An Lushan captured the capital city of Chang'an, and the emperor ran away. Du Fu also ran away with his family, and he never made it back to the capital city, even after the rebellion died down. Many of his later poems after this time are about how sad he was to see his country falling apart. First, let's take a look at the title. Jiangnan Feng Li Guinian. To Mr. Li Guinian on the occasion of our meeting in the South. So, where were they exactly? The word that Du Fu uses is Jiangnan, but Jiangnan just means south of the river. The river here means the Yangtze River, so really anywhere in red on this map could be described as Jiangnan. Historians have tracked down where Du Fu was to the city that is today called Changsha in Hunan province. Don't confuse this Jiangnan with the way Jiangnan was used at other times in history. Later on, Jiangnan came to mean the region around Shanghai, but that's not where Du Fu and Li Guinian were. And who was Li Guinian? Back before the An Lushan rebellion, the capital city, Chang'an, was the biggest and most exciting city in the world, and Li Guinian was its most famous singer. He came from a family of great musicians. His father was a singer, and so were his brothers. But Li Guinian was the most talented, and in Chang'an they called Li Guinian a demon because of his wonderful voice. He was often invited to sing for the emperor himself. He was a rock star. Now, many years later, the An Lushan rebellion had ended the rich artistic life of Chang'an. Still, it must have been very exciting for Du Fu to meet this star from the old days, particularly because they were in a small, dusty town far away from the capital. When educated people like Du Fu met up with friends, they would often write poems for each other. It was a common way of remembering the occasion, back before they had cameras and selfies. It would be quite rude for a poet like Du Fu to meet up with a star like Li Guinian and not write him a poem. And yet, I don't think his heart was really in it, as you'll see. Here's the first line of the poem. 岐王宅里寻常见. The Prince of Qi was a very important man. He was the brother of the emperor himself, and he was known for loving the arts and gathering the most brilliant people around him. Of course, one of these people would have been the singer with the voice of a demon, Li Guinian. Remember, there were no microphones in those days, so a concert would have to be a fairly small affair, just to make sure that everyone could hear. The picture you can see on screen now is a real Tang Dynasty painting of a concert held inside the emperor's palace. You can see that there are only a dozen women sitting around playing instruments. When Du Fu was invited to a concert like this, he would get to sit right next to some of the richest, most powerful, and most talented people in all of China. He says he often saw Li Guinian there, so both of them must have been popular people in Chang'an high society. In the second line, Du Fu continues to remember the good times when he used to listen to Li Guinian singing back in Chang'an. 吹酒堂前几度闻. 吹酒, or 吹9, was another name for Cui Di, the brother of one of the most important ministers in the emperor's government. Perhaps Cui Di had a stage or a special place for musical performances just outside his house. This is the end of the first video on Jiangnan Feng Li Guinian. We've seen that in the first two lines, Du Fu remembers the good times, watching Li Guinian sing back before the country fell apart. In the second half of the poem, the mood is going to change very sharply. See you soon for part 2.
We hope that you enjoyed this lesson preview from Ming Aretê. At mingaretê.com, you can find the full lesson with more videos, interactive quizzes after every video. Keep track of your results and progress from your profile. Discuss the lesson and more topics with the instructor in the community forums. Sign up to get updates on literature, music, and art courses and more free content. Check the description below for links to this course and more enriching content from Ming Aretê.